Did you know that your odds to win a championship can increase or decrease up to 4% depending on which draft position that you have? That means that there can be up to an 8% swing in your odds to win a championship between the best draft position and the worst draft position before the season even begins. So if you want to find out which draft positions give you the best and worst odds to win a championship, stick around till the end of the show. And I'll see you in 9 seconds. Hey, what's up, fantasy people? This is Tyler, Big Turd Ward, and Banjo, the dog, coming at you live from my living room. And this is the Fantasy Footballin' Show. Today's episode, we're going to be going over 4 years of historical data that tells us which draft positions in a 12-man league gives us the best odds and worst odds to win a championship. So the data talked about on this episode is from an article from Alex Cates. He is a doctorate student from Northwestern. He writes a lot of awesome fantasy football and stuff. If you want to read the full article, just leave a comment and I will send you the link. So let's get straight into this. I entered the data into my own Excel and color coded it for kind of like ease of use. Here it is right now. So we're going to be looking at this data in two data sets. One is the 3-year historical data from 2019 to 2021, and then we were separating out last year's just to see if it fits with the historical trend. And I wanted to associate players to each single draft pick in 2022, just so you can see, which player and how it played out last year for you. So we're going to look at the 3-year historical average first, and it looks like the number one draft pick reduced your chance to win a championship odds by negative 1.5%. And this does line up with my last video about how the number one pick is cursed. There have been 2 non-bust as number one overall picks over the last 10 years. And that was Todd Gurley and Antonio Brown. So the second overall pick actually increased players' odds to win a championship by 0.5%. Same thing with the third pick. And then the fourth pick, it goes up to 0.75%. So now we're looking at the 5th overall pick, and you can see that is highlighted in a darker green. And that is because historically, the number 5 overall pick gives you the best chance to win a championship. Now looking at number 6, you can see it's starting to come back down, back to 0.5%. And now going into pick number 7, we can see that the best is behind us. And now we're actually getting our odds decreased by 0.5%. Pick number 8 almost does nothing, but it does increase a little bit, 0.25%. Here we go, pick number 9, a little bit of help at 0.5%. And then our first big disadvantage here at pick number 10 overall, since the number 1 overall pick, and this decreases our odds to win a championship by 1 full percent. And now looking at pick number 11, it barely does anything, but it does increase your odds a little bit, 0.25%. Now looking at pick overall 12, you can see that is highlighted in the darkest shade of red, and that is because it gives you the worst odds to win a championship relative to everybody else, decreasing it by 2%. So looking at the 3-year historical average, the managers at pick number 5 actually have a 3% better chance to win the championships than the players choosing at pick number 12. If I had to recommend draft positions for you to win a championship, I would tell you to get picks 2 through 6. Also, one trend that I am seeing, the worst odds on here are pick number 1 and 12. And that's kind of counterintuitive to me because I have always liked kind of picking late and getting those back-to-backs, maybe getting 2 of the top 13 overall players. I thought that gave me an advantage. Well, guess what, dude? Historically, you do not want to be picking back-to-back. That's a big deal right now. All right, guys, we're going to be looking at last year's data, so 2022. So the curse of the number 1 overall draft pick continued. The number 1 pick gave you a negative 1.5% chance to win a championship last year. And the number 1 overall pick was Jonathan Taylor. Now you can see, man, picks 2 through 5, 6 were amazing last year. So pick 2 gave you a plus 2% chance to win a championship. That's Christian McCaffrey. He did hit last year. Pick 3, I drafted this dude, Derrick Henry. He gave you a 3.5 or 3.75% chance bump to win a championship. He hit. And then, dude, here we go. Dark green, the best player the player that you drafted last year to give you the best chance to win a championship right off the bat. Austin Eckler gave you a plus 4%. So that lines up with historical trends. And then next up, what is this? Pick number 5, Cooper Kupp. I mean, he killed it in the first half of the year, and that was it. But apparently, he still gave you a plus 2% chance to win the championship last year. And that lines up historically. So this is usually the best pick that you can possibly do is pick number 5 overall. And this was the 3rd best overall last year. So historical trends continue, man. If you really want to win a championship and you can choose your draft order, you want picks 2 through 6. So rounding this out, pick number 6, Justin Jefferson. He increased your odds 0.75%. And he had a really bad playoff run for the fantasy football. And then getting into pick number 7, you can see our first bust at Najee Harris. So then we go pick number 8, the first really bad draft pick to have last year, decreased your odds by 3% to win a championship. That was Dalvin Cook. And he was kind of off and on all year. He was pretty streaky. And then in fantasy playoffs, he did kind of terrible. And here we go. Pick number 9 did not do anybody any favors last year either. That was negative 3.25% chance to win a championship. And that is associated with Jamar Chase. And he had a really bad, playoff run last year. Plus, he missed a lot of games. You got the bane of Jason's existence. If you were a Joe Mixon owner, you can relate to this negative 4% chance, dude, on your pick number 10 overall to win a championship. And so the difference between Mixon and Eckler, dude, so right off the bat, before the season even started, if you drafted Eckler, you had an 8% better chance to win a championship than if you drafted Joe Mixon. That is freaking crazy. And those people went in the first round. Pick 11 last year, that was Stephon Diggs. He increased your odds to win a championship by 0.5% before he even played a game. And again, dude, you do not want to bookend a draft. So you do not want the first or the last pick because you do not want to be picking back to back. And then here we go, dude. DeAndre Swift, negative 4% chance to win a championship last year. That is tied worst with Joe Mixon. So what can we get from all this data? There are 2 big things that I am getting from this. I do want to pick from 2 to 6. That does increase your odds historically the highest to win a championship. And I do not want the number 1 or number 12 pick of a draft. I do not want to bookend the draft of my league because then I have to pick back to back. And apparently that is terrible to win a championship. So if you're like me and your draft is based on how you did last year, there's really not much you can do, but hey, at least you can see what you're getting into before the league starts. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I earned a thumbs up. Hopefully I earned a subscription. If you are not subscribed, we need it. And hey, this is Tyler Big Turd Ward, and I appreciate you.